Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What is up, everyone? It is I, Ryan Neil Wayne, alongside Joe King. And yes, we are going to be ranking and a bit of a deep dive. And because we have watched at least twice every single season of Survivor, and we will be ranking each season. Now, some of these have been a while, so maybe our ideas and
Yeah.
perspectives on them may not be as fresh. However, this is where we combined our two lists, we joined them together. So something might be ranked a little low on one of our lists and high in the other, and then it kind of like bounces out. We do have Joe, if you want to go about like the how the rankings were determined. It's on the screen. I'll
Yes,
let you take that
exactly.
over.
I'll just go ahead and read it here. So yeah, the how the rankings were determined. Both Joe and Ryan each ranked all seasons from 1 to 50. The number one ranked season on the list got plus 50 points. Every ranking spot decreases by -1. In the event of a tie, there if and there's a season that is ranked higher on one of our lists, that season will be ranked higher. If both seasons have the same top ranking, then they will remain tied. So there are a few cases where that is the case where they'll kind of share a slide. But for the most part, yeah, that did break up quite a few of the potential ties. So
Yeah,
because we got to give a little more credit to, I guess, the person who is a little more passionate about a season than the person who's more
exactly.
negative about a season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which this is warning. Joe's going to yell at me a lot for my rankings.
Yeah, I think it gets more egregious in the so there's going to be a two-parter, by the way, because we cannot do all this in one video. It would be way too fucking long. So I'm going to probably make fun of you way more in the second part because that's when I really think you fumbled quite a bit. Um, but there's still some things for me to yell at you on this one.
Yeah. And it's funny. So I also want to shout out Joe. He's the one that made this PowerPoint, this slide right here. Thank you for all your hard work, Joe. We always appreciate you.
Yeah. Fuck off. Okay, you're ready to get into it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So starting at number 50, our worst season, a season that we both hated and put as our last spot. We got Survivor Thailand
Yeah. It is a little sad because, you played a game with someone from this season.
right
I
there, who
also
I'm now covering
uh
up.
well, we you can move the
Yeah,
cursor. You
no,
can
no.
move our camera.
Yeah. So there's no
Yeah.
there's not too many good spots. I guess I can put it like down here, down left.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is because we both know Tanya Vance, and Joe played an org with her. So like there is that
Mhm.
little special sentiment there.
Yeah, but I recently watched this season, and by God, was it hard to watch. It is not a fun watch. I the most likable people on the cast are on most seasons would be one of the least likable people on the cast. The Ted Gondia thing, that happens early on in the season,
yeah.
uh is terrible considering that Ted's the one who stays for most of the season afterwards. Yeah, it is not great. It is very bad in pretty much every account.
I mean, this was the season where they only chose this is the season where they were like straight up with like bringing Sheehan back. The only reason they did that was because they wanted a representative from each season, and they were
Yeah.
like, all right, she kind of got screwed over. Maybe she does better in a different season
Yeah.
uh with a different cast. And technically she did. But yeah, even Survivor was like, no, we're not too keen on this cast this season.
Yeah, I think like the best part of the season is that one challenge where they kept breaking the rules and fucking choked Clay out at one point. Like that's the best part of the season. That is not
Even then,
that is not something you want to hang your hat on.
No, I mean, I like the endurance challenge at the end. I thought it was very unique, and they used like, and that's what I missed about, the destinations and stuff they used to go to in Survivor,
Mhm.
was the fact where they would have some cultural influences in some of their challenges,
Yeah.
which that is a big complaint about some future seasons. Is like they're like, like some of their challenges are very much recircled and stuff like that and generic. Back then, they would be like, oh, like incorporate some of the culture into some of the challenges. So,
Mhm.
like I will say it has a very unique final immunity challenge.
Yeah.
That's my favorite portion of this entire thing. Other than that, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a season where O'Brien wins.
Mhm.
Ryan and Brian's don't get along, but yeah,
Yeah, like he plays a very dominating game, but even then, he almost loses to Clay, who I think is like considered one of the worst finalists that has ever made it, and he almost loses to him. So
yeah. I think especially back then it was like, all right, there were quite a few things going against Brian into that FTC. We'll talk more because we do have a winners ranking
yeah.
later on. But like, they had the videos from home where his fiance or wife shows or girlfriend shows his car off, which is a very nice car. So immediately that turns people away from him. uh, he was kind of a jerk from that, peeing in the shelter just to mess with people from the other tribe. Like these were
Mhm.
he wasn't a very rootable person, and then he ends up winning the game.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean we both ranked it last. I mean, there's nothing really good for us to talk about. I'm ready to just move on and never talk about the season ever again.
We might at some points, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So here we go on to number 49. We got Nicaragua, um, which is your number 49 and my number 46.
yeah. For me, it was like I wa- this one I think garners a rewatch for me,
Hmm.
to get a bit of a fresher perspective. I mean, the season, I think the things that brought this really down was because I don't really care about the Medallion of Power. It was something they tried and didn't work. I just kind of gloss over it.
Hmm.
It was well, one, Brenda just not there were a lot of people that just kind of like gave up during this game. Like Brenda didn't even try and fight to save herself. We had, two people, just straight up quit from the game.
Hmm.
uh, and I will say there's like maybe some like memorable people that come from this, but there are better people even from this era that kind of fit that archetype that I remember a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like my bottom six of my personal rankings are all seasons that I think are like just bad, like pretty tough, and so I mean, this is definitely in them. The only reason it's not, because my original ranking when we did this way back then, this was I believe my worst season or second worst season as well.
Yeah.
But I've given it a little more grace because I do think a Fabio winning out at the end is funny. Like I do think that is at least like entertaining to some degrees of him going out and like I don't know, I guess Chase wins the game. I'm guessing that's what would have probably happened.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not good. It's not the worst. The double quit definitely is like one of those moments that just kind of takes away a lot of the win of going into like the mid game and the late game of the season. So uh yeah, I mean another season that probably similar to Thailand. I don't really think anyone here should really be coming back for for another go. I know that Brenda obviously comes back for Caramoan, but like
Yeah.
I don't see them bringing her back after Caramoan either. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, because her edit was abysmal in that one. And then
It was just all about
Fabio
the
winning, I
dog.
will touch Fabio. This was back when I had longer hair and was in high school.
Huh.
I was like, yeah, I think Fabio should win. So he is technically the first ever contestant I got right when it came to predicting a winner. But it's like I think as I've grown older, I'm like, all right, and I've even adopted his strategy once or twice.
Hmm.
um, it's something where, you know, I forget about him sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
and like even the season, like he didn't get too much of an edit as well. And like sometimes that may hinder it as well. Like it did seem like as I was like going through from what I remember, it did seem like it was either going to be Chase or Sash, but
Yeah.
neither of it panned out that way.
Yeah. And also this is Fabio's story after the season is kind of why I think a lot of people don't want to give young people the money because he like blew through his money very quickly on all sorts of things. So uh you know, I yet again, I think he's like one of the few winners that really did it the way that he did it, but not great. It's another one of the seasons where it's just like don't really want to rewatch this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, on to our number 48. We have Island of the Idols.
All right. The reason why this isn't in my bottom five, well, actually, there's two reasons, maybe three. There's a huge reason why it's low on my list. The one
Mhm.
thing stopping it from being lower, mostly, is because this is the first one that you and I reviewed.
Yeah,
If it wasn't for that fact, it would be a bottom five season.
yeah.
And it's for obvious reasons why this is very, very low.
Yeah, I think that influenced us last time. I chose not to have that because I kind of wanted to be a little more objective with it because yeah, it's another season. You just kind I can't watch. It's just every episode has a certain someone in it at some point and it just ruins the entire viewing experience. Um it sucks for everyone else because I think that it is going to mean that no one from the season probably ever returns because they want to
Which is
forget about the season.
which is a shame because I think, and this was
Yeah.
another reason why puts it a few points above, is that there are some good people here. Like
Yeah.
Janet. Janet is one of my favorite from this. I really enjoyed Elaine.
Yeah.
Tommy
Charisma.
Sheehan is Karishma was one. Tommy Sheehan, while I think he had a very like straight by the book win and stuff, like he was still someone that I chose. I was like, he's probably gonna win. Lauren, which I
Mhm.
think she is one of the most underrated final. It would like not final trouble count.
Fallen
Fallen
Angels.
Angels. Because I
Yeah.
feel like she definitely could have won, and I think if she were to play again, she would do a very good job and could potentially win.
Hmm. Yeah.
Nora was entertaining, but it's
Jamal.
Jamal was good in that moment with him and I'm forgetting the long haired dude's name.
Jack.
Jacob?
Jack.
Jack. Uh like there were some like good things here and there was some good gameplay. It's just it just gets so bogged down by the controversy that I remember when I did watch that merge episode, I had to like take a walk afterwards. Like, and don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I love good cardio, but like that's just like a heavy thing to just watch. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. The person who reports, getting touched by this person unwantedly, and has done it has brought it up multiple times previously. They choose to vote her out instead of the guy touching. So it's kind of like
which is very, like I don't know, that's immoral. No,
yeah, exactly. And then literally in that same episode, they also take out Jamal, who is kind of like a voice of reason for a lot of things. So it's kind of like, oh, the ship has sailed. And then at that point, everyone's just like, well, I guess we got to take Dan to the end because he's not going to win. And then it's just, oh boy.
Yeah, and then some of the women on the cast decided to use that to their like as part of their gameplay. Just like jumping on. I was like, oh yeah, he touched me too, which that's very like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that is the big downside. Those are like things where it's hard to avoid when it
Yeah.
comes to this. It's like I think it's very much a skip it season for a lot of people.
Hmm.
I don't blame them. It's yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to really impact any future seasons. Like I said, I just don't really see people coming back onto the season. And yet again, I've technically played a game with Janet. So you played a game with Janet. Like this is another game.
Trying to target me.
Yeah. She quit on the first tribal council on my season. So
She quit at the second tribal council in mine, but it was more of a heroic way because she was like, "Yeah, I don't have any ping pong balls. I don't want to get people eliminated because I don't have materials."
uh,
I did
yeah.
have a nice talk with her, and I saw her at Over the Edge Celebrity Weekend. If y'all don't know what that is, it's for a charity, and you get to hang out with not just people from Survivor, but other reality competition shows like Big Brother, Traders, The Challenge, and I've even seen some wrestlers come over there as well. So
Mhm.
keep an eye out for that.
Yes, yes. But yeah, I mean still bad bad season. Another season that is
Yeah,
not great. It's gonna be the theme, obviously, of these first few. Okay, on to number 47 here. We have
40 several.
Redemption Island.
For me, like the premise seemed cool, and we're not too far off. We were pretty close on
Mhm.
these. The premise seemed pretty cool. It was like, okay, you're bringing back two people, and then they can duel it out in an arena to see who comes back. I know some people are iffy about Redemption Island or Edge of Extinction. I don't think it should be a staple, but I think it's fun every now and then to bring it back.
Mhm.
Um, it did make Matt a little bit more memorable because like he would have gone home like second otherwise. But the
Yeah.
way he had like duels through it, went back and then just lost out is crazy. I think the thing is Russell goes home early and then this whole thing they hyped up of Russell versus Boston Rob just kind of just goes nowhere very fast.
Mhm.
And then it's just kind of like Boston Rob steamrolling. There's like Philip being entertaining, which I know Philip is not well liked by some people, but I'm like I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's it's not a great season.
Yeah, I think Redemption Island. The problem with it is every episode, after like episode 2 or 3, um, you're eating up time with those duels. And those duels, especially back then when episodes were only an hour, aka like 43, 44 minutes, that extra like 6 to 8 minutes that is now being eaten up by this really impacts getting to know the players still in the game for a lot of people
Yeah,
who kind of don't matter too much until later, maybe. Um, I think maybe in a 90-minute format, they would have had time to get the duels and still be able to show off their cast. They don't really get to show off their cast, so they kind of rely, I think, heavily on their returning players. And eventually, yeah, once Russell's gone, it's Boston Rob. Like,
yeah,
it's got to just be the
uh,
Boston Rob show.
yeah.
Um, and
So
yeah,
I agree, and I like the point you make of like back then, and that's one of the biggest complaints about this season, as well as South Pacific. Um, they get more of a pass with Blood versus Water because, well, we already know half the cast anyways. Um,
Mhm.
so it kind of makes it a little easier, but and I even think like they kind of learn lessons where okay, like they may not do it. That's I think part of the reason why Edge of Extinction kind of came to be was because like all right, we like the idea of like potential like battle back or something like that.
Mhm.
But like not a lot of people, like I think they ran into that issue too in the
Mhm.
cutting room floor. It was like, well, how do we still give certain players time to shine if we're just focusing on, another challenge instead of fleshing out the cast?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you want to just see Boston Rob dominate a game, I mean, this is technically your season to watch because that's basically all it is. Is they got a bunch of Boston Rob fanboys, put them on his tribe, and they just kind of let him run through the game.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty straightforward season. Um, I will say where it is a it is definitely an end of a villain as iconic as Russell Hantz. It's kind of like
Mm.
it can be a disappointing end if you're a Russell Hantz fan, but it was like also like in the grand narrative of like at least US Survivor, it is a thing where he gets his just desserts. His tribe throws him under the bus and is like, nope, that's it.
Yeah.
Like
And then they just lose the game because of it because then they just keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. So it is kind of it is poetic. And then
Mhm.
there is some stuff like that. And then yeah, Rob gets his W as well. Um yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on next to our number 46 season. We have a tie here between Fiji and Survivor 41.
Yeah. Both of these seasons. All right, which one should we talk about first?
Let's start with Fiji and then we can talk about 41.
All right, Fiji is one where I feel like there was a good cast somewhere here. I mean, like
Mhm.
it gave us Earl, it gave us Yao Man. I liked Rocky as kind of like this early antagonist. I liked, I believe his name was Anthony. He was kind of like bullied on the Have Not tribe, but
Mhm.
like I was a nerd, and so I like supported him. Uh, but like this season, we kind of fell pretty flat
Mhm.
in execution because it was just like a steamroll at the other side. And like even like records were broke because like Boo Radley or not Boo Radley. this isn't this isn't To Kill a Mockingbird. Uh but yeah, like Boo just pretty much straight up hulks out and does very well. Part of it is like he was on the winning tribe the whole time where they got a
Yeah.
nice camp and everything.
Yeah, I think the pre-merge is definitely rough to watch. It is one of the worst twists in Survivor is the haves and have-nots because yeah, clearly the tribe that has all of the amenities and everything is going to do better than the tribe that has nothing and is living in the cave. Like, it's a very clear like that's going to be the case. I do rate this a little higher than 41 because I do think Yao Man is phenomenal on the season, very entertaining, great winner in Earl. Um, and I think the dreams moment with the car, like, I mean, it is one of the more iconic like moments in Survivor. Um,
That is true.
and that alone to me kind of like prevented it from being in like the very bottom of the seasons. Yet again, this is a season that I think I had ranked lower before, but on a rewatch, which I did like a couple years ago, it has kind of gone up a little bit for me.
I think it's tough with this season too because it is also sandwiched between two very,
Yeah,
very
agreed.
good seasons. I was about to say well received, but I know Cook Islands has its controversies as well. But
Mhm.
two like seasons that a lot of Survivor casts would typically enjoy. And a lot of great players came from. And yeah, and yeah, the Dreams thing, and like Dreams did have an interesting story, and then it
Hmm.
did get a little bit shattered by the end. And then we get our first ever contestant to get not a perfect game, but he gets all votes by the jury, which
Yeah,
is pretty much like obvious when they're sitting at the end. It was like it's got to be Cole, Earl Cole.
yeah.
But yeah, this was also a crazy season because it's the first ever season where we had a odd number of contestants because someone dropped at the very last minute. They were like, "No, I don't want to do this."
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's why like this season spawned why they have alternates out there. Like they no longer could just bring the amount that they were planning. They needed to have backups in case it happened because there are other seasons where this has happened where someone kind of pulls out while they're on the island. I know Survivor 45, Austin, that's what happened with him. Like whoever was out there got pulled the day before the game started, and Austin just has to go out there and go ahead and do it. So, um, I think that there's definitely things here that are interesting that stand it apart and is why it's not a bottom five season for me. But yet again, it's still not great. Like I still ranked it at 41 on my end, so
Yeah.
we're 44.
Uh, I'm trying to. I'm trying. This one is also a weird one because this also was a cast with mostly recruits
Mm-hmm.
as well, which it kind of, like I think that's another thing that feels off a little bit about this season too.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get too many like super fans out there.
Well, I will say this era, which is a golden era, a lot of recruits. Like it's actually shocking how many recruits are in like these other seasons too. Like Steven Fishback, who you imagine like he's got to be a super fan. He's got to love it. He's a recruit. He is someone who just kind of is like was just contacted by the show like, hey, we found you. We want you to be on the show. So there's actually like a lot of recruiting that happens during this period. Um, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I think this is an example where it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay,
All
now
right.
on to
Now,
41. I mean, to me, I mean, the format is what really kills the season.
yes, I think, well, part of the reason why it is ranked higher for me is mostly because I was like, all right, there's still some people here in the cast where I can get really behind. Like I enjoy Danny McRae. I like Ricard. I love Shan. So it's like there's some people here where I'm like, all right, this is actually really, like a good cast of people. For the most part. The downside is it gets bogged down by 41 being like, all right, this is new era. It's going to be very, very convoluted and crazy strategy for these first time players. Um, and I think it just kind of like took away a lot. And I think also
Mhm.
the editing,
Yeah.
um, because it was like you made sure to give everyone kind of a bit of a backstory and a sob story, and then it just got repetitive, and especially like, oh, if it's a little later and we haven't heard from this person in a while, oh, they're probably going home. um
Yeah, yeah. Like I swear, half the cast on their boot episodes is when you get their emotional sob story, and then bam, they're gone. Um, Yeah, and also this is the season that changed the editing for the rest of the new era season because of how hated it was with the Erica winners edit where she gets like no content early on. Like she gets three goose eggs in the pre-merge.
yeah,
And nowadays that just isn't something that ever will happen apparently.
if you get zero confessionals, you will not win.
No.
What I find crazy, and we'll talk about Survivor 50 when we get there, it was like they still kind of like watered down Audrey's edit in the beginning. like we checked in on her and stuff like that, but still, it was like you would think for season 50 they would have their win. I'm not trying to. We'll get to 50 when we get to 50, but
Yeah.
um, also it gave us a lot of controversial twists.
Yeah.
The we'll save the best for last. But there
Mhm.
is the do or die challenge, and then it's the
Mhm.
one where you have to pretty much do pick a random thing and then you can go home. I didn't necessarily mind it, though I understand the complaints behind it.
Yeah, I think it ruins games. I really like if we have a person go home from Survivor who just goes home because they picked wrong. Like it's bad. That's why we're back to 50. Why the coin flip is it was a bad twist. It's the same thing here. This is just something that should not exist in Survivor. Uh,
I will say I am surprised the Chaos Gremlin, the guy that loves
no,
going to
I
rocks.
like it. I like it when players get to choose chaos. I don't like it when production says chaos, chaos. Like that's basically what this season was and what they were trying to do, and it's just not fun.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I think this cast also has to follow 40 oh wait, no, the hourglass.
Yeah, I was about to
Good
say
God,
you're
the
about to skip that, which is the biggest controversy.
no, we were on yeah, the hourglass twist. They did it twice. Granted, I don't think they realized how badly people hated it. And then
Yeah, well,
uh
Danny McRae let them know, and they were like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
no, but like it was like well, because like this one more than 42, it had a huge impact on the game because Erica ended up winning.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the start of her winners edits is from the hourglass, which no one really wants to see. The problem with hourglass is it's just such an easy decision. Like there's no real like choice behind it. Like yeah, you're gonna smash the hourglass because if you don't, you're going home because everyone else is getting to strategize. And if you don't do it, you can go home. Like of course you're gonna be
Also,
the easy votes.
you punish winners, which I don't,
Yeah,
like when we talk about unfair, I think this is like the prime example, the ultimate answer to what is the most unfair twist. And it is that because it's like the one of the only ways you can guarantee your safety in this game is winning immunity, not
yeah,
advantages and stuff like that. Purely you win a challenge and you are safe.
yeah,
Um, can't go home because of a rock slide. Yeah, rock slide. Because of rocks. Can't be like your advantage can't be taken away from you. It can't be you know, blocked. It's something where purely I have immunity, I won it, I'm good. And
mhm.
then to remove that, like is pretty unfair because they did things right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, not good. I think the cast did have the potential. I do agree. I think the cast had the potential to be good. But there's just so much production elements to the season that just kind of make it really hard to watch. Like it's another season I really don't want to watch again. It is by far the worst New Era season. Like
Yeah.
it's not even really close in my mind. Like I just can't see another season being like there's another season that we'll talk about pretty soon that I think is also pretty bad. But this season is there's still a gap. There's a pretty big gap between them.
Yeah, I agree. But I will say this also introduced some things that I do enjoy. I do like the Beware advantage because it's like, all right, it keeps things a little interesting. Um, I think the password thing, they quote unquote fixed it in 42, but that was just because misunderstanding of the rules.
Mhm.
But I thought the password was interesting. However, it did make idols a bit more public knowledge.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
but I
also
did
if you
like,
get an idol and no one else on a tribe gets an idol, I mean, like you just don't have a vote until that
yeah,
happens. So that's also I think that there's a lot of mistakes. Like I actually think that that is not good. I really dislike that as a twist. I think idols are best when you can have them be, just your idol. The fact that you kind of have to say these crazy phrases that most people are not going to be saying just lets everyone know it's just it's not good. And also, I mean, yeah, you're kind of like waiting for other people's phrases so you kind of know who it is, so that obviously everyone's going to know who it is because they're going to share that information with people. It's a whole thing.
yeah. But I would say I do like the earn the merge on paper. I think it does lead to like an interesting thing of like stakes. And like yeah. So it's stressful to be a part of. I've been a part of an earn the merge before, and it does kind of like, uh-oh, I might go home and not make merge.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. With that being said, we shall move on to our number 44. We got Guatemala.
Yes.
How does it feel, Guatemala being above these other seasons? Because I know
Um,
you don't like it.
there's a reason why it's low on my list. I think 44 is a fine placement. It is kind of sad because I really enjoy Stephanie. It's just the thing is, when I was rewatching this, granted, this was back in 2020. Um, I was rewatching and then I was like, you know what? Maybe this season isn't half bad. And then Danny won. And then I was like, no, no. And I
You're
was
so
like,
petty.
I no. I had like my Star Lord moment in front of Thanos, where I was like, no, this isn't right. Stephanie deserved to win, and I'm just like, no,
She definitely didn't deserve to win. She
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 did.
she is terrible at she doesn't understand the game. Similar to why Jonathan didn't win, similar to why Russell didn't win. She doesn't understand how to make a jury like her. She gets her people and she says, "You're my people," and then the rest of you go fuck off. And this is a season where she ends up having her people beat the people who she said fuck off, and she gets to the end, and guess what, she's sitting with someone who didn't say fuck off to those other people. That's like
Well, she
it's a
didn't say
very
much of
simple.
anything now, did she?
She did, but she purposely kept away her game from the producers because
Wait,
it had been public knowledge that Survivor producers kind of would like let people know what other people were doing in the game, especially to their favorites. And this season had captains, so clearly they had favorites. So it is definitely 70 did not deserve to win this game. This then not even close.
I disagree. I think she played a game that was a little ahead of her time because she was ruthless. Do I think she deserved all the jury votes? No. But I feel like she was like, no. I feel like she came in there and she went to get business done.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem. You gotta also be like, you can get business done, but you got. Boston Rob said, to Jonathan going out there, make sure to smile. I feel like Stephanie is not like she does not smile to everyone. Like you got to be in her good graces to earn a smile from her, and that is not how you win Survivor.
I will say, if it was, and all right, so like some plus sides of the season. I feel like if Rafe made it and he ended up winning, I would be okay with that. I feel like while Stephanie is my favorite, I do feel like Rafe was the best player. And honestly, like I know like it's because he his career started to kick off elsewhere and stuff, and then like, not come back. But I feel like he very much was someone where I was like, man, I wish they brought him back for fans versus favorites or something like that, because I feel like he's someone where he played the game super well.
Mhm. Yeah, I also think Judd Sargent is a fun, kind of loudmouth kind of character on the season. I think he gives some funny moments. Gary Hogaboom, first idol that has ever been played in Survivor. It's not the idol that we're used to. It's a very weak version of the idol, but like he was going to be going home when he used it,
Yeah.
so him playing it like there did save him an extra rounds. Um, I think Brian, very fun pre-merge character who I wish could have made it further into the game. Yeah, I think that there's definitely some fun things to find. It also didn't help that like the start of the season, they make them like do this really long trek through the jungle, and it causes like a bunch of people to get heat stroke, and so people are
Yeah.
basically fighting for their lives for like the first couple weeks of the game.
Which I get the because I know like the show wasn't purely strategy back then. It was also like a survival show.
Mhm.
So like I get why they did the twist and everything in the beginning. But yeah, that is something where I was like, uh-oh, we don't love medevacs on we don't enjoy medevacs when we watch Survivor. It's
Yeah.
like it can be told in a good way and stuff, but it still ultimately sucks to see someone go because of like outside reason they cannot get care and they have to leave the game.
Yeah,
Um
exactly.
I think one of my favorite moments, just because it was so crazy, it was Bobby John and the other guy just yelling at each other after the challenge, and they were just like nose to nose, looked like they were
Yeah.
about to swing.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like two drunks at a bar about to get into a bar fight.
Yeah. Um, it is something. This was also the first ever captain season,
Mhm.
um, where like because in Palau, like the Oolong tribe, historically the worst tribe ever, where it was only Stephanie left. And well, it was like Stephanie and Bobby John, and then they dueled in fire. Stephanie won, Bobby John went home, and there was no merge because they were like, all right, you just go over to the other tribe now and you join them. So no merger technically.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so they both get brought back for this. And I think Stephanie, they make sense. I think I needed more out of Bobby John this time around to justify him coming back. I think
Mhm.
on paper it makes a whole lot of sense bringing him back, but
Yeah.
he kind of after like he does get targeted pretty early in the merge, and then yeah,
Yeah. I mean, Bobby John's just not like that great of a player. Like, in Palau, they make it to the end together because they were just trying to keep strength, basically. Like
yeah.
that basically became what they had to do, and they were, on paper, the strongest people that were on that tribe at that point. So it's like, yeah, of course they're gonna make it to the end. So bring them back, but yeah, not Bobby John is not a good Survivor player.
But this also creates an interesting what if in Survivor where it's like what happened because the theory, I don't know if this ever got confirmed, was that the two people voted off first in Palau without going to tribal council, or like not voted off, they weren't selected,
Mhm.
were supposed to be returnees for this season,
Uh-huh.
but because of how things panned out, um in the boot order and everything, and one tribe getting completely annihilated, that it kind of like, what, it'd be better if we brought these two back. It
Yeah.
does kind of make me wonder what potentially would have happened with this season.
Yeah. Yeah, good question. Because it was Wanda and I forgot who the guy was. The guy,
S- Some Chad.
Yeah, he probably should have been picked, especially by Oolong because they needed some strength. But uh,
What can you do?
yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's Guatemala here at number 44. Moving on to number 43, we have Ghost Island.
Yeah,
I'm actually a
it
little
was.
surprised for you putting this though, because I feel like last time we talked, you were more positive on Ghost Island than where you ranked it here.
I think maybe it could have been a bit more of a. I think I enjoyed it in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
or I remembered it a little bit better. But on a rewatch, and then like seeing some of the different formulas and stuff like that, I, kind of lost like favorite. It was like maybe I was watching it with like rose tinted glasses, or I was like, oh yeah, this is cool and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
me not like fully remembering it, and then me like when I did rewatch it, I'm like, all right, yeah. And then I kind of reminded how disappointing Ghost Island can be, seeing
Yeah.
how, it was essentially Exile Island, where every now and then something cool might happen, but if not, oh well.
Yeah. I think I actually enjoyed the pre-merge, and I think the merge episode where Chris goes out is also pretty fun. We just then get a really long stretch of some of the most boring episodes of Survivor that you have seen until the finale, where then the finale is electric again. But there is like a solid 5 episode gap or so in there where it is not fun because you just kind of see people almost in a Redemption Island fashion, just letting Dom and Wendell win the game. Let them play.
Yeah.
Um, Laurel has so many opportunities to make a move and make something to her game, and she doesn't. She like actively says no. Same with Donovan. Like they both were so often in a position where they could have done something and they just say nah.
Yeah. I think it's crazy to do it because like people underestimated Donathan as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he made it pretty far. Um and then yeah, I mean like there are some people I enjoyed. Like I did enjoy Kellen. I thought Jacob was hilarious, our resident Seth Rogen, the
Yeah.
most Seth Rogen-y Survivor contestant in the history of the game.
He gave us a lot of entertainment in that first episode.
Yeah. Uh but it feels like a lot of other people just kind of like fall to the wayside and didn't get a whole lot of love. Um and yeah, I think maybe it was a little bit more I was more up on the season. I don't know why, but I enjoyed it more. But like after we rewatch and stuff, I was like, all right, maybe it's not as fun as I remembered.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I do think that there are some good moments, some good episodes, but I mean, obviously, the end, the first and only season where it has now ended in a tie vote, and Laurel has to be the deciding factor. I mean, that moment alone is one of those iconic ones. I was rooting for Dominic. I think he played a great game. But they're at the end with Laurel, and she was way closer to Wendell than to Dom. So that's how the camel breaks sometimes.
That is true. It is crazy because I feel like I don't know if he was on Challenge USA or he said some shit, but I feel like Dom probably should have come back for 50.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he does for like a second chance season. Like, that is the thing, is that they if they do a second chance too, they have blown a load of a lot of returning players that we would have been great for that season. So
Yeah.
Dom's not going on could potentially be great, because if they do that right there, he's got to be on that list.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, moving on next to number 42, we have One World.
This is it's an interesting one because like I will say this is like the first season I watched where it was like the tribes were divided, but they're also this one had a uniqueness to it where they're on the same beach. I think what kind of bogs this down is that some of the contestants aren't as like memorable,
Mhm.
and then the ones that do, like Colton, the whole Colton thing, like like it's entertaining TV, but it's like it makes you a little uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
And like just kind of like how that whole thing, like it was like, all right, he kind of bullied a lot, and by a lot, I mean there is no kind of he bullied a lot,
Mhm.
and then he just kind of like feigned appendicitis and then was removed from the game,
Yeah.
um, because I guess something didn't go his way.
Yeah. I think he was just like tired of being out there to a degree. I think he's just one of those people who sees it and thinks he's you're going to do so great, and then you get out there and you realize, oh yeah, I'm also on an island starving with a bunch of weird people who want who also could be wanting me out of the game. So I still don't know how they brought him back. It is a crazy decision that they did there. But this is similar to Redemption Island. It is the Kim Spradlin show to a
Yeah.
pretty big degree. Everyone pretty much is like her entire tribe is basically playing the game for her. Um, the only opposition that she ever faces in the season is Troy Zan, um, which we've seen him come back for Game Changers, and then it's just kind of like, oh, that was her opposition.
Well, I mean,
um,
like, and I think like the only reason you really root for like Troy Zan is like, oh, he's really fighting for it, and the guys are screwed. Like,
yeah,
I think that's the reason why Troy Zan gets a lot of love this season. Um, Even though also casting wise, having a Troy Zan and a Tarzan on the same season, when Tarzan was a little bit of a weird dude, but I don't know. I really enjoyed I love the parts about him and his wife, and I also love the little like his send off where like he did his yell, he had a little poem and
mhm,
everything. Um yeah, but Kim played a pretty dominant game, one of the most dominant games. And then yeah, it became very predictable. And sometimes when a season is a little too predictable, and then like it was like, well, who else is going to take her down? It doesn't seem like anyone is really going to target Kim.
yeah.
Then it just kind of becomes a little boring.
Yeah, it also has that moment where the guys give up immunity that they won to vote out Bill, and there's all of the controversy about how Colton handles that situation too, and saying like, oh yeah, I have lots of black friends, and it's like my housekeepers, like that's not a good look. That's not, and then for them to then vote out it's the black guy here. I mean, it is not
Well,
fun, and there's more to the story, because
yeah,
I don't know. I'm assuming
we've
Bill.
talked about it on the channel before
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. Bill basically found Colton's idol and threw it into the ocean, which is against the rules of Survivor. So they had to give Colton his idol back, and that's why they give up immunity, is because Colton wants him out of the game because of what just happened there. Um, and they don't really show that on on the show, but that is why it goes down the way it does.
I feel part of that because editing is a interesting thing. And I feel if Colton made it further in the game, or they gave him more material to if he had better material out there that showed that like sympathy, or like why, like made him a more sympathetic villain, we might have seen that moment. But because he ends up quitting the game or like getting medevaced, I think there's a reason why that was hidden, because like Colton was
Mhm.
being a little despicable and being a bully.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's why.
Yeah, there's that one moment also where he's talking to I think Alicia about how Christina, like and it's just like basically saying like you're next, you're out, like he's just like going off like to her face basically, and they're like laughing about it. Like it's just not it's tough to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that's one world.
And I'm surprised that why you have it at 38 because I feel like we just ragged on it.
Because the highlight, and I think it's a big highlight, I do like him as a winner.
Mhm.
And so it does accomplish something that has only ever happened once, where one gender makes the final five slash finale.
Mhm.
Um, which like is historic. They did it and they did it pretty dominantly. So that's why it gets a few more points for me is like, well, that is something like they did and like I don't know. It was something where I'm like, it is impressive. Don't get me wrong. You're like, so like there is that. So it's like those two reasons why I kind of do it. And like I said, I might have a little soft spot for Tarzan.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on here to number 40. We have Survivor 48.
Now Ryan is a bit higher on the season
Quite a bit
for
higher.
what significantly higher.
Yeah, like quite a bit. And you're wrong. I'll just say you're wrong. This is a bad
All right.
season.
I think it's not a great season. It's an okay season. I feel like the pre-merge was way more entertaining, sometimes for bad reasons. So Cedric becomes the first person voting for every single member of his tribe in the same tribal council. Say was hilarious. The play on the California girls during the tribe swap was great. They had a lot of fun moments. Um, but it does become a little boring midway through. They make some moves here and there.
Do they?
Um, but it's I don't know. I feel like as I'm talking, I'm like, it's not as bad as a season. Is it like great, great? No. I think what brings this season down is that some people, especially on the bottom, don't want to make, like don't want to play the game. If anything, it's the people on top. It's Kyle being like, you know what? I think it's time that we get rid of Shaheen. You know what? I think we get rid of let's send him to Ponderosa so he can get his chalky milk. Like it takes, it's Kyle that's kind of like running the show and using kind of Joe as like like having the strong alliance. And then when Kyle feels like someone might be getting too hard, like maybe we take out David, maybe we take out Shaheen, then they do it when they have the numbers to do so. Um, it is very much a Kyle. I think like that's another reason I'm higher on it is because I very much do enjoy Kyle. He is someone where I during the time I was watching it, I was playing a game like him where uh, you know, I had a Camilla and we were playing the game. We were secretly like ride or dies, and then we got as far as we could together. But yeah,
Yeah, so I'll tell you why you're wrong. You're right in the sense that the first few episodes are entertaining. Like I thought that this has to have potential from it. Um, and then it decides to fucking take a shit on the game of Survivor that we know, by literally having some of the most boring ass gameplay that we have ever seen since the Redemption Islands and the One Worlds for a very long stretch of time. Um, that like so many opportunities to be making moves. I think the end of
yes,
Kyle is terrible. I think that they gave him 40% of his confessionals were about him and Camilla being in a secret alliance, like to a comedic level. And it's like you
yes,
don't need that many. You know,
I agree.
you can give him a few of those, but you can't have 40% of his confessionals be that. It is not a good look for a winner, in my opinion, because I do think I think he played a game similar to Tommy Sheehan in Island of the Idols in terms of like how he played the game. It is a very like textbook. Like he kind of just did what he had to do. It worked out for him. He got out the right person at Final Four to secure himself the win because he was very closely aligned to Lauren in that season. Kyle here, very close to the line to Camilla. Camilla goes out here. He ends up being at the end where he's up against even Joe, which is another issue I have with the season, is how they make Joe seem like the greatest person, like God's gift to humanity here. And they don't really show too much of him. Like they don't explain it very well about him, like his mistakes. They kind of like, I know what you're going to say because there was like the moment when he like, he's thinking and we zone out of Kyle. And it's like, but yet again, we're zoning out of the eventual winner of the season to focus on Joe here. And I just don't think that that is a good choice because the thing is we're taking out Shaheen. And if the whole point is about, like who you're going to take out, and you're focusing on like Joe's decision to take out that person who goes out here, it just isn't it isn't super coherent.
All right. So here's why I'm going to defend that choice. What were we saying right after that episode? What were we? It wasn't rhetorical. Do you remember what we were saying right
Uh,
after that episode where the vote seemed to hinge on Joe's decision?
I mean, I just explained what I was thinking, so go ahead.
More so like, well, that's on a rewatch, but in that moment, we thought, oh, well, Joe is definitely winning because of A, B, and C. Of course, he's going to win because, like, it's
Yeah.
his opinion that matters in this moment. Uh, I say, like, it's something where this season did give us one. I'd say it's one of the last seasons where, oh, it could be Joe, it could be Kyle, it could be, like this was like one of the last seasons where it could be like, oh, maybe as I'm talking about it, realizing it.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is that Kyle wasn't too much of a choice because they just weren't giving him winner content. They weren't really setting him up in that way. Like, sure, he wins the game, so then you can be like retrospect afterwards, like, oh yeah, see, he was a choice, but they were really not giving Kyle the content that we needed out of a winner.
I don't know. We got a lot of his backstory. We also got him making moves throughout the game. And I think that's another thing where Tommy played a very more subtle game and stuff. Like Kyle did get some like achievements of it under his belt as well. And I feel like he made it to the end. He also was very clever when he made it to the end because he specifically brought let's say more people respected Joe's game and like Joe and Eva's like, duo. He made sure that duo went to the end because like they might split votes away from him. He knew he had to take out Camilla right at the right time. I think the thing is it's like Kyle noticed like what was happening. He had a really good read on the situation. And we did get a lot of positive content from him. I do think, yes, it became a meme. And I even made the joke too. It was like of Kyle and Camilla working together. But I feel like the edit for him is there. Um,
I mean, it's the
yeah.
equivalent of in 45 if Katora won the game and they still put in all those "I hate Bruce" confessionals. Like it's she has the same amount of "I hate Bruce" confessionals as Kyle does. I have a secret alliance with Camilla. Like, and we were not being like, "Wow, Katora's going to win this game," even though we do get her backstory. Before going into the finale there. I just don't. I think editing can do better. I think you can tell stories without having to choose one thing and then hammered over people's head 1,000 times. And my guess is this
Unfortunately,
season just doesn't have good players. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. This season has a
I don't
lot of very uninteresting people in it, and so they just don't have anything to show most of the time. This is a season that really could have done better if it was an hour-long episode to not 90 minutes, because they just did not have the proper amount of content to tell the story.
I think yeah, this one would have been benefited more for like an hour runtime. I don't think everyone was like boring. I feel like for me, the downside of this season is that there are some people that don't want to change up the game. There's a dominant alliance. Hey, we have the numbers. Hell, we might even have an advantage to do something a little different in this game. But no, they don't. Um, I still feel like there is something there. Like this is not going to be a season that I would recommend someone start off with. But I feel like there is a recipe for a this is like a mid-tier season for me.
Um,
Um,
I
maybe lower
feel
tier mid-season, but like still mid-season, mid-tier season.
I don't know. I feel like we saw with 50 that Joe's game, there wasn't really any substance to his game. Um, I think Camilla is. I've explained this many times on this channel. I think a lot of new era players, are they want to hide under the radar because that's how you win the game. That's how a lot of people do. So they're not super entertaining. They try to kind of hold back. And I think Camilla could be super weird, super funny, but she holds back because she is hoping to make it further into the game and then become like the threat at like the end game. And it's just not a super exciting thing. Like, I think she could be good, but how she plays the game, which is like correct, it is a correct choice that she's making there. It is just not correct for TV, and we need people who are making correct decisions for TV.
I will say it well, I think that is a byproduct of the new era or how the meta has shifted. So
Mm.
I think that is true. But yeah, I don't know. There's still moments in here I enjoy. Um, or like, I think one of the best moments of the new era is when Joe goes over, crosses tribal lines to comfort Eva and bring her down.
Mm.
Uh, that I think that's a very touching moment throughout the game. I feel like Say was like TV gold. Like even
Uh,
like the one
but
where Bianca or not Bianca, crap, I'm forgetting her name. Uh, the person that goes home right before the jury starts.
oh, Charity.
Charity, yes. Where Charity is about to get the advantage and stuff, and then Say just comes running in like crazy to go grab it.
Yeah.
And that the messy tribal council where Cedric votes for, Justin, votes for Say, votes for Mary.
Yeah, that's why this isn't in my bottom five here. Is literally that one episode. That one episode on its own, with Justin going out there and Cedric voting everyone, like that was great. But the thing is that I think post merge just has more weight to like how I rank a season, because those are going to be your memorable characters, the people that you are really looking at as like who we're going to be bringing back, who are the stars of the season. And a lot of the stars of the season just aren't doing it. They're just not playing. They're just kind of on autopilot.
I feel that's true about the people on the bottom. I
I,
feel
I
like
I
no,
think
I feel
I think on the top, I mean, even Camilla is technically like in that group, and she has like opportunities, and she's afraid to flip because then Kyle might get upset about it. You know,
that just shows like how dominant of a player Kyle
well,
was.
yeah. I mean, you can say that, but it's still just not. It doesn't give you good TV, and that's what I care about: is what are we getting for good TV?
I
We're not
mean,
we're not doing a winners ranking. We're doing what's the best TV product.
well, sometimes I would be hypocritical if I didn't say because sometimes whoever wins the season might raise it or lower it. That's why Guatemala is where it's at on our ranking.
I think the winner is like a cherry on top of a season. It is not the like defining this is how I'm going to be ranking a season, because then yeah, it's
I
going to be like
feel
the same.
I feel it depends, but no, I think I've I've also said how many I've given examples of why I have my opinion on this season and why I think it's and then the thing is I'm not even saying it's a top 10 season
You know
or
what?
anything.
Let's. I'm gonna adjust the season. This is now a number 50 on my list. We're
You
changing
already
this.
made the PowerPoint. We're already
Yeah,
recording.
I want this. I want this further down now because I'm getting more mad about this season the more we talk about it.
Guess
This
what?
is what always happens.
It's still
This
not gonna
season,
be.
the more I talk about it, the more angry I get about it.
It's funny because I think you're more angry at the season than you are at me at ranking this season
Yeah,
high. It's
yeah.
not even that high.
I mean, 31 is a crazy place for you to put the season.
I
Like
don't think it's a
it is
crazy
crazy.
place.
It shouldn't even be sniffing at top 40.
That is bottom 20. That is a
That, yeah, yeah,
that's a
but
that's
that
a D plus
you're
basically.
telling me that there's 18 seasons worse than this. That's just not true. That
That's
is
what I decided.
that
Joe
is
just doesn't like democracy.
that is just not true. This should be one of it's just not entertaining. I'm sorry. I thought you like entertaining stuff, Ryan.
I
This isn't
do. And guess
entertaining.
what? There are some seasons that are more entertaining. You talk about the 18 that are below it. What about the 30 that are ahead of it, Joe? Huh? You like using this and rub it in my face like it was
Yeah.
me that peed on the ground
There
and
should
I'm a
be at
dog and you're
least
trying to rub my face in it.
there should be at least
Whereas
40
look,
seasons above it.
there
There
is
should be at
30,
least
there's
40
30
seasons
above it.
above it.
Oh, so you want to change it so that it's at 41? Okay, Joe, go back
No.
and change it where it's at 41st place.
Okay. Fucking
It
let's
also rounds out the 40s on our list. So you got your way here. You knock me so much for ranking certain things and bringing down their rankings. However, I'm not giving you shit for ranking it at 45 and bringing it down much lower than where it is.
this 45, that is like me being generous. That was
You're a
me being
goddamn
that
hypocrite.
was me being generous, okay? Okay. I could have ranked it lower, but you know what I said? Hey, the first few episodes were pretty good. And then it sucked afterwards. Okay. So I gave it a little bit I didn't put it then. But guess what? It deserves a lower ranking now. Okay, next time we do this, number 50 or however many seasons we do this at.
Listen, I don't do that with mine.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to just spoil the winner ranking. You put Danny Boatwright at the bottom, and she is not the worst winner of all time.
And I stand by that decision.
uh,
I'm not fabricating to fudge results.
I disagree. I feel like you knew that I was going to rank this season low, so you ranked it at 31.
No, that's not even a high ranking. Now, if I put this like at 25 or above, then I feel like you would be giving me I would understandably be getting a little bit more shit here. But no, it's at 31, Joe.
Yeah, but that
It's
is
like
still
I
this
keep telling you too, I think it's a good season. Is it a great season?
the fact that you
No.
don't have this as a bottom 10 season just shows everyone what your taste is.
Yes. That I
It's not
really
good.
enjoy. Whatever. Go to the next one. You're
Yeah.
just bitter.
I'm just speaking the truth. Okay,
The truth is full of shit.
on to number 39, and it's actually very fitting that this is the next one. We got Survivor 49.
All right. So this one is a tricky one for me to place for a couple reasons. One, the winner was automatically spoiled.
Yeah, everyone
So
knew
it's a
who the
little
winner was. So
it's hard for me to like truly gauge. And then we got all this like weird controversy about like the cheating, and it was only the first two offenders of it. Um, I feel like why I have it as low as I do. I know I'm kind of taking the lead when we get to these, but you did put my name up first. Uh,
yeah,
is that um this show, I feel like when we get to the merge, some of the castmates are too tame to take down the people that are at the bottom. I will say there is more dynamic gameplay here where you do see like, you do see um people in the middle kind of like coast the middle, and it did work out very well. I do like Rizzo. I feel like Rizzo, one of the best things to come out of this season.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, like it's something where I think if more time passed and maybe a full rewatch, I might rank it a little higher. But right now, I'm like, yeah, 42. I'm a little on it.
Yeah, I mean, it has, I think, a really bad pre-merge. Like the pre-merge
Yeah,
is not very entertaining. Every vote is like, you know what's going to happen with like every vote in the pre-merge. And then Nate goes out at the merge, and it's a little disappointing there. And then it does feel like Sage and Juwan have control of the game, and then they kind of just make a lot of missteps that eventually hand the game back over to Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie B. Um, a lot of unforced errors from a lot of players. But unlike 48, I do think that there are actually entertaining people in this cast that are giving us TV. Like I do think
I agree.
Rizzo is, yeah,
Sage as well.
yeah, Sage, Rizzo. I think Sophie B is good. So I do think that at least like some of those end game people were giving us content that like or at least made it like okay, I want to watch next week to see like what they're going to say and do next time. Whereas last 48 was it wasn't really that. It was kind of just like okay, let's just kind of get this show on the road already. Um, so yeah, yet again, it's not like amazing, but there are definitely certain elements of it that I really enjoy.
I agree. I mean, like, let me look at my list real quick. I don't have it pulled up right now. Um, but it's around this, like, I don't think sometimes when I make a top whatever list, just because it's in the bottom 10, because it's rarely, it's on the higher end of my bottom 10. This is where I'm like, all right, this is a decent season. I need to see it on a rewatch. I think that's my thing because like going into it, all we were talking about was Survivor 50,
Yeah.
and like we knew who Savannah was, so like there was a lot of going into this season.
Yeah.
Um,
It was also hard to talk about who we think is going to win because like we already knew. So like it felt a little mute sometimes talking about people that weren't Savannah winning the season or Rizzo. Rizzo had like a small chance. Um,
yeah. Um, and I think another thing too is that sometimes recency bias can work against it.
mhm.
Because I feel like for me, and this is how I kind of like gauge some movies too, is like, does the season stand the test of time?
Mhm.
Will we still be talking about it? Uh, like, well, obviously we're talking about it now. We're going to be talking about every season, so
Yeah.
yes. But like, is this going to be a season I'm going to like want to watch back or like recommend? Maybe not. I feel like I said, there are some highlights here, but it
Mhm.
won't be like a go-to. I think one of the
Yeah.
biggest things is that there are some people because you like, yeah, you have Jawan, you have Sage that are like right in the middle and like kind of making mistakes, but still the big targets are, like the Tres Leches Alliance. And even when Sophie Screen Time decides to make a move about everything, she makes the wrong move. And
Yeah.
we learn like, oh, that's because her and Rizzo were a little bit closer than we anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, it's like it gave the impression of like a scared cast, and that's not as
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think we had a stretch of 45 through 47, which I really think those casts like delivered and were really entertaining. And then I do think, yeah, we kind of got 40 and 49, and it just felt like just a decrease in player quality in terms of editing quality. I just feel like it just felt like a huge decline. Um, and that's why I mean they're this low here. Only other new era season that's worse is 41, which was, you know, it's going to be hard for any season for
Wait,
seasons
wait,
to be
wait,
that
wait, wait,
bad.
wait, 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 wait. You said the only New Era season that was worse than this was 41.
I
So you're
said
thinking that 40,
40, yeah,
you think that
48 and
48 should be
49.
higher?
Yeah, I mean, I ranked 48 higher than 41.
No, but you were talking, this is 49.
Yeah. I know. I'm saying that we just we this is coming off of another season that was really bad, and my point is that they both kind of shared a lot of the same qualities with each other of having kind of some casts that weren't super stellar, some bad editing, um, but this one at least had like a few standouts like that were there and trying to give us good TV. But I'm still going to say we had a lot of scared players on both of those seasons.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. Um, anything else to talk about?
I think two other things that came out of the season, which may have lowered it. One, you have a man, you got good old Alex here, wanting to break the martini curse, and you do not even
Margarita.
margarita curse, and you do not even give him the opportunity to
Yeah.
try and break it. That is a Chekhov gun that no, it was like, oh, you'll break the car curse, but not really. But you
Yeah.
won't do this for
Auction should be in every season. It's great. It's literally like one of the best parts of every season.
it. It's good. They're most likely going to spend the money anyway, so it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, and then another thing was when Jeff was like, yeah, everything that happened beforehand doesn't matter. What really matters is now. And it was like, so you're saying that the first half of your show doesn't matter? So we should only watch when the merge happens? So
Yeah.
no.
And that's how it felt in the season. This season, I mean, there were clear lines drawn, and they just kind of said, "This is how it goes." Um,
I mean, the most interesting part about the pre-merge was the shoe bandit thing, and
yeah,
how even after Jake was medevaced, the ocean goes and it steals a shoe anyway.
yeah,
So like there is some like comedy there, but at the same time, no, it was like, what the hell?
yeah, yeah,
I will say another great moment was when Savannah was being called out and was like, "Hey, name a family member of everyone on the jury." I watched that with an audience and everyone gasped and went,
yeah.
"Oh."
That is a brutal question because I mean, I've played games with people, and I would not be able to do that. So
It is, yeah, I mean, like, I will say that can be a little trickier with orgs just
yeah,
because like we have our lives when we are playing these games. So it's like you
yeah.
don't have that
You're not
opportunity.
forced to like talk to people, and that's the only thing that you're really doing is you're just talking. But yeah.
Yeah. So it is something where it's like if you're talking about social, I mean, like I think Savannah handled it really well. She was like, listen, I didn't have to like invest in everyone and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I invested in the people I knew, like I wasn't like just trying to be with everyone, that might have gotten me voted out. But like,
Mhm.
I made sure I built relationships where they counted.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Moving on now to 38.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going here to Survivor 44, more new era.
Yeah. I think this is a cast where I like individuals on this cast. I think what really brings it down is the Tika 3. Now,
Mhm.
granted, I love the Tika 3.
Yeah.
I love them all. But they did get too much screen time in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of the only people who really got content. Everyone else got like little hints, but like you can't really say almost anyone else was like a star of the season. They were all kind of
No.
background characters, or supporting characters who had a little B storyline that kind of hops up for a little bit and then disappears.
Yeah, like there's some people I enjoyed. Like I like Lauren. I like the nerdy showmans that we got with Matthew and
Yeah.
Franny. Um and I liked Kane because he was a D&D dude and stuff. And I liked Heidi more getting to know her IRL than I did watching the show. And then
Yeah.
like they showed that Heidi was awesome, like at fire making and stuff like that. But like most of the game, she was a background character.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember I can't even remember the exact moves, but there was a few times where I feel like she was just making like weird moves that made no sense, and then they would just like disappear her from Reddit again. Like they would just kind of like do that. So it was, yeah, I feel like that was just the case of it, like everyone. It was kind of just like screw everyone else. Tika 3, there are big characters. They're going to be in the final four. So that's all you should
yeah,
really care about. And I think it's also very fitting it to be right here next to 49 because I feel like it's a very similar situation where 49 had Savannah, Rizzo, and Sophie B kind of as like running the show for the most part.
yeah. Another thing that I didn't bring up about 49, one of the big things about 49 that was like weird was the Hina tribe, the yellow tribe. It
Yeah.
felt like pretty much all of them got purple edited.
Yeah.
Like,
It seemed like they were saying things against production out there, and production said, "Screw you, we don't want you to be on our show anymore."
which is like, okay, it sucks that I'm going back with it, but it's
Yeah,
like, which is also like, all right, you already know that your winner is potentially leaked. But now you're telling me, because like I remember watching back and then you were like, oh, like Steven might have a chance to win this game. And I'm like, it's a possibility, but it's like some of that early editing, I don't know.
yeah,
And then very next episode he goes away. I was like, well, okay.
yep.
Um, I would like to see a season where people get to the end and then it's like, oh, it's anyone's game. Um, within the, I guess, the open era, almost a new era. But yeah.
It's good. Man, I'm not looking forward to the open era. I'm already getting bad vibes from what they're about to be doing. I think, I think they're going to be doing a lot of what we saw in 50 with some of the rounds of Mario Partiness in the merge. I think that's going to be where they go for the open era, but we'll deal with
Well,
that at a different time.
yes. But yeah, so I think so. Reason why this is a little higher for me is because when you give certain characters time to shine, they still do. I like Jam Jam as a winner. I feel like Caroline's story throughout it is like a good shining moment. I like the nerdy showmance. I feel like some of those. I feel like this season had some high highs. When it came to that,
Mhm,
and I feel like that's what made me like a little bit more fond of this season.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like the winner. I like Carolyn. Carson was fun, but yeah, it's uh another one of the seasons that I feel like I've seen it. I don't really need to necessarily go back and watch. I want to see those three just go into a different season, a returning player season at this point. Like, I'd rather get
I
the content from a different season than this one.
Unfortunately, Jam Jam seems like the only person eligible because
Yeah.
I think Carolyn said some shit, and then I haven't looked into it, but some controversy between them and Carson.
Yeah. Well, I know Carson and Carolyn like had a podcast where they kind of shat on Survivor. So
Yeah, so that typically means it's not a good thing. So that's why, if you're wondering why Joe and I haven't gone on Survivor yet, that might be why we've said
it's
some things
probably
like
this. Yeah.
yeah.
uh, you know.
Mostly we offer constructive criticism, but
Mhm.
anywho,
Sometimes they just don't want to listen to it. But yeah.
I will say too, this is a season where we get the two injuries pre-merge as well. Um, with Bruce, with Matt. It was something they heavily advertised going into it that it was going to be. Uh, like regardless, I feel bad for both of them. I mean, like hell, everyone felt super bad for Bruce, so much so that production was like, "Yo, you can come back on whenever. Just let us know."
Mhm.
And then he comes back straight on back for 45, being the first returnee for a new era player.
Yeah. Yeah,
Huge
exactly.
asterisk next to that, but still.
Yeah, it's you can't even really say like I don't consider that like a returning player. He just got out super early. He didn't really get to play the game. He couldn't even really strategize for make alliances because he was injured with a head injury. So
Yeah, very true.
okay. On to the next season, we have Marquesas.
Our cases. Yeah. This this is our first very huge gap.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
I'll say I think I maybe ranked a little higher, but I still think you ranked it pretty low.
I think my thing it was so this is Boston Rob's first season, and there are
Mhm.
some things that I did enjoy. Like, like we're going into territory where I'm like, all right, these are good seasons.
Mhm.
Um, and you'll hear me like say that a lot, unless um Joe I have to go back to my list and see if Joe ranked something super high up that I ranked very low. That really messed up with it. But it's like I think this is a good season. Um, I think it's interesting beginning. We have the tribe swap, and then this is like the first time we see tribes going against each other. You have Nalil and Pascal being like, you know what? Why are we, like, why are we putting up with this? No, screw this. They're going to flip the switch, which at the time it was groundbreaking.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I think the thing is, it's like when I remember this season, which is technically the first season of Survivor I've ever really watched, a lot of it comes from different moments in the merge thing, in the
Mhm.
merge portion of this. I feel like I do like Boston Rob, but I liked him better on different seasons,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the first kind of go for him here. So we kind of learn about him, but he's not crazy big. By the way, I actually realized I wrote down the wrong number for my season on this one because I was also kind of like, I don't think I ranked this at number 19. Um, my actual ranking is 32.
Why'd you put 19?
I have no idea. So just ignore that there. I must have accidentally picked something else when I was going through this, but
Oh,
yeah, because
okay.
I was like, this literally wouldn't make sense for this to be 38 if you had wanted
Yeah,
me at 19. So yeah, 32 for me. So that's like reasonable now for me.
yeah,
uh, um, yeah, I think it's pretty good. I do like Pascal. I think he's, kind of a fun older character. I think Mazepia plays, a very good game.
yes,
Uh and yeah, I feel like some of the semblances of what Future Survivor does begin to like happen here, especially with Rob like taking out the typical male like archetype hero kind of character and Hunter super early on. um him trying to kind of take that role from him. I do think that there's definitely some fun stuff in here, but it isn't like the most memorable season.
yeah. I think, and that's the thing too. That's why it's a little lower. I mean, like,
Mhm.
I still like. I've talked to John Carroll a few times. Really cool dude. Um, I think, and yeah, I think Vesepia is a very underrated. Well, it's tough to say underrated because she's the go-to answer for underrated winners more often than not. So it's like hard to say she's underrated. I would say under
uh,
celebrated.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's coming off of Richard, Tina, and Ethan, who were all, icons of the era. And then she's kind of the newest one. And then the next one's Brian, who's not very well received. So I feel like there's kind of like the cutoff of those first three are iconic, and then there's the rest.
Yeah, I think also her gameplay was very, very subtle, so maybe that's why she kind of
Yeah.
flew under the radar for so
Mhm.
long. But yeah, this was also I'm surprised. You know what? Honestly, I think I'm surprised it's not number 19 purely for the reason this was the first season of Survivor to introduce elimination by rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It-
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. Like don't get me wrong, that is one of the funnest moments, especially in old school Survivor. Um, but one moment can't really elevate it to number 19.
yeah, yeah. But like I said, there's a reason why it's like 41 on my list. Just like it's you said 32, right?
Yeah, 32.
Yeah. Um, I'm forgetting the blonde lady that is down on the far right next to Vesepia. I'm
Oh,
for
Kathy.
Kathy. Yeah, I was forgetting her name, but she was great throughout the season. Another
Yeah.
memorable moment and involves John Carroll is like, I need someone to and I'm like, usually I don't like bathroom humor or stuff like that, but it's like Kathy's like, yep, I'll do it. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I feel like you got a lot of people here. Um, I feel like you have Sean. Sean really got his like moments throughout it, but it's like, yeah, I'm trying to think of like a real like standout moment for him, and it's
Uh,
like tricky right now.
yeah, that's the thing is that like it doesn't have the most memorable of everything, but
Yeah,
like you can watch it and still like people on it, but
yeah,
it doesn't have as much of those like jumping out at you kind of factors. Um
I'd say
yeah.
consistently he was a good player, but
Uh
there was like no like aha moment.
yeah. Yeah, agreed. We're at like over an hour and a half here, and we're about halfway through this part. So
All right. If we got nothing else to say, then I
yeah,
guess we can go on to the next one.
yeah, I agree. Okay, moving on here. We got number 37. We got Survivor Borneo. You ranked it. I think you ranked it low. I think I know why you ranked it low, and I'm guessing it's purely from like a rewatch factor for you. Like you weren't maybe craving to see this old school first time season again. I did give it the credibility of like this is where it kind of started. Um,
I
there's
mean, this
definitely
is why it's
yeah.
that's why I ranked it at like 40. I was like, all right. It was like maybe not as entertaining as a rewatch, but however, it is the first season.
Yeah.
So I put it there.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Tribe of Nerds Survivor season rankings, Borneo is in the top 10, which I think that is crazy and delusional. But I do think that it deserves like to be closer to like the middle of the pack of the seasons, just because I do think that there are some iconic characters and moments of the season. Um, it's just you're not really going to watch it in a new mindset of how the Survivor game is being played because no one's playing the game except for Richard out there.
Yeah. Um, it's kind of crazy because like there are some confessionals where some people are like, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing out here.
Yeah.
Um, not saying it was like that. It made sense because there was nothing like it beforehand. Richard just kind of like clocked it right then and there. It's like, all right, this is a game. This isn't just us going on safari for 39 days. No, this is a game for $1 million, and I'm going to do the game as such.
Uh-huh.
Um, it did bring a lot of entertainment. Like I said, I'd say we're in seasons that I consider good. You know, um, yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of fun challenges in the beginning. A lot of great standouts. You got Hatch, you got Sue Hawk, you got Jarvis, Colleen. Like I feel like Greg. Like there are very interesting people in this cast. It's just
Mhm.
like I feel like it's not, like it's hard because of like why we love Survivor now. This season isn't really it.
Uh,
And I think it's still like obviously it has its place in pop culture. It has its place within our hearts, but it's like, yeah, it was like like it's historic, it's cool. We give it its laurels, but it is a little tough to watch on a rewatch.
yeah, and for new Survivor fans, I do not recommend starting with this season. Some people would do, some people are like, you gotta watch it from one all the way through, and it's like, no, no, no. Choose like a handful of some of the best seasons, and then once you decide you love Survivor, then you can go back here and see where it started. Because
Yeah,
I do think it's a very tough watch nowadays.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, moving on here to 36. We got South Pacific.
All right. So, we're coming back to Redemption Island right after we just had a season with it. Uh, which is kind of interesting because part of me was like, is this going to be like a new normal for Survivor?
Mhm.
Like, I wasn't against it, but like, especially now that, a lot of time has passed, I was like, that would have been crazy to actually do.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like this one it did a little better. It also helped create one of the next big rivalry, which it's crazy. They're not in the cast photo.
Yeah, yeah, the coach and Aussie, they some of those captain seasons they don't have like proper cast photos because they kind of come in when the game starts.
Yeah, but it was this one I liked a little bit more because, and we seem to be on similar pages here as well.
Mhm.
It's like this one had more of a plot with some of their side characters. Like, you had Cochran, who was like very much getting like, like he was the nerd of his tribe. And then, like,
Mhm.
even his fellow castmates trying to gaslight him and being voted off. It's like, no, 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 you can take them down. You can win your way back. We believe in you. And then Ozzy ultimately being like, nah, screw it, I'll do it. Um, you have Coach, who is very entertaining, and then like he has his cult, and then opposite of Boston Rob, he doesn't win at the end because he doesn't
Yeah,
own his game.
yeah,
Um, you have a lot of like cool different stuff here. I think they handled Redemption Island a little better because then they got to a point where it's like, all right, we'll kind of like not they wouldn't go straight to they would have the challenge and everything, but it didn't feel like it was overshadowing too much what was going on,
mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, agreed. Brandon Hance, I think this is the more memorable time of him. Also, he was trying to redeem the Hance name. Ultimately, though, being tricked by Coach, by to give up his immunity necklace. Um,
Yeah.
never works out for anyone, except for Chris Underwood.
Well, no, Jenna Maresca,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Jenna Austin. I forgot
she
that.
wasn't really going home, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It is what it
uh,
is, but yeah, this season was definitely more entertaining and more memorable than Redemption Island, but it definitely is still why I kind of don't want to see Redemption Island as like a theme as a concept come back. It's just a little unnecessary for the most part. It definitely was introduced to give people like Boston Rob and people like Ozzy a chance to like win the game. Um, and Ozzy almost
yeah.
does. He wins that final immunity, he wins the game. Um,
Yes, but unfortunately he makes Survivor history for the first time He does it well, yeah, for the first time. Because I will say, tying a record, you tie the record, so you didn't necessarily make history in some regard because you weren't the pioneer of it. He is the first person to ever be voted out 3 times within the same season.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one who's ever been voted out 3 times in the same season.
Yeah, people have only come back once, besides
Yes.
Ozzy. So yeah,
Um, so he has that distinction. Um, but I feel like this season might have been a little bit higher for me. I'm not gonna lie. If Coach or Ozzy won, I think this is more so about the edit of Sophie, where she was just
Mhm.
kind of there for a while.
Yeah,
Um, and then like, yeah, we got little tidbits from her here and there, but it was very much the Coach, Ozzy, and Cochran show, and like people will say things here and there and whatnot. And then she ends up winning, and it just feels a little bit out of the blue.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I actually think Winners at War gave me more respect for Sophie as a game player.
Yes.
You get to kind of see her game actually, uh, in its full glory because yeah, sometimes the problems with these captain seasons is if a captain makes it to the end, sometimes it just kind of like casts a shadow with everyone around it, and
Yeah.
sometimes it just kind of prevents us from seeing other people play the game.
That can be the tricky part of a fans versus favorite season, and we'll get to those later. And this is why I'm a big supporter of fans taking out the favorites because
But as a viewer, I want the favorites around me.
exactly. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like you're already kind of like competing for screen time versus people who have already, well, at least for the first one, have gained the love and affection of people.
Yeah.
And then, but I feel like this is one of the seasons that does it better. Of like
Mhm.
some standout people.
Uh,
Sometimes in the wrong way, because like Brandon Hans, the whole thing with like Michaela was like icky, especially on a
yeah.
rewatch. Like because like I rewatched a lot of these seasons in 2020 slash early 2021, and yeah, that part well wasn't great then. It got worse
Yeah. Agreed.
now.
Yeah. 100%. But yeah, also Jim Rice. I like Jim Rice. I wish we got more Jim Rice. He's someone that a lot of people on the cast should keep saying we need to get Jim Rice back out there. He was on the second
Yes.
chance ballot. Like I'm down for the medical dispensary owner to come back.
Yeah, it is interesting because I feel like some seasons retroactively get better, and I'm
uh,
pretty sure you saw the same video. This is one of the prime examples where I feel like this season boosts up a little bit because of how some returning players performed in other seasons.
yeah.
Specifically, the Coach Ozzy, Sophie, and then Cochran, and like even Dawn, like seeing her in Caramon, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But it was like, fleshes out her character a little bit more here. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed. Okay, moving on to the next season. We got All Stars. Okay,
All right.
10 season gap between our choices.
Yeah. It's like, well, I feel like for me, what really gets this season down a little bit is 3 things. Boot order,
Mhm.
it becomes a little predictable. Granted, well, it becomes predictable, but then it doesn't because it felt
Mhm.
like, all right, and we'll get to this when we get into our winners. I have a pet peeve when it comes to people winning based off of people just straight up not liking the other person
Uh,
that played a more dominant game.
mhm.
And I feel like, well, Amber was smart and then, like, was like, yes, like, and it wasn't just strategy. Obviously, they're still in love. They have a bunch of
Yeah.
kids and everything. Like, what they felt on the island was 100% real. It just felt like a lot of the jury was like, nah, screw you, Boston Rob. We're voting for Amber instead. Um, yeah, so I will say, like I said, still a good season, but we lose a lot of favorites early. Um, and when Boston Rob's like mafia just kind of like takes over the game, it's kind of like, all right, we're gonna have to wait until we get to five for things to like kind of like cook up again. Um, but it did have a lot of good moments in there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the boot order sucks. I would have loved to see people like Rob Cesternino obviously make it to the merge again. But at the end of the day, I mean, this cast that they brought together, regardless of boot order, is and I mean, they basically got pretty much everyone that you would have wanted to see come back in those first 7 seasons, minus like a fair play, but obviously Pro Islands I
Yeah,
think was when this came out it was still even going on, so it's a little like okay, they can't bring too many people there at that point. They got Rupert too, yeah, I mean, icon right there.
oh,
um
100%.
yeah, I think obviously the Lex blow up is one of the most iconic, one of the most talked about moments of Survivor right there. Um,
Oh yeah,
and it starts, I think, one of the most important things you could ever do in Survivor is send whoever is the mayor of Ponderosa to be in your favor. Because if they are anti you, you're going to have a very tough time winning the game because that person is going to tell everyone how much of an asshole or how terrible you are and be spreading all kinds of propaganda against you. And I think this was like the season that really proved that that is super important to do in the game of a Survivor.
yeah. And numbers don't lie. If you look at how many people where the mayor of Ponderosa is the votes for the winner,
Mm-hmm.
it is very, very, very high number of people. So it just always behooves you. Do you have the actual number?
I don't. It's like somewhere between 70 to 80% of the time they vote
Yeah.
correctly. So
Um, but yeah, I will say, like I said, good season. I feel like I have to reiterate that when we're getting here because to be like,
uh,
why is All Stars so lowly ranked by Ryan? It was like, well,
uh,
it's not without its faults. I do like it, and I will say on the flip side, it did make some people shine a little bit better that maybe not have gotten love their first go around.
uh,
Um, so yeah, I
yeah,
think there is a lot of iconic moments here, but when it comes to returnee seasons, I do feel like this is the weakest one. Granted, it's the first
yeah.
one, so they had some things to iron out, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have it as my weakest All-Star season as well. Um but I kind of have this 50 and Game Changers all like pretty much in the same ballpark because I think they all three of those have pros and cons to them.
Oh, we'll
So
get to those when we get.
yeah. But yeah, I think it's got some fun stuff. It also has some not fun stuff. I mean, especially with the Richard Hatch and Sue kind of moments where Richard runs the course naked and rubs up against Sue, and then Sue kind of doesn't do too much about it until like the next day when she gets upset and quits the game. Um, and you get like almost the entire cast saying like she's just doing it for money. Like there's some weird kind of stuff like that. Obviously, Jenna
Yeah.
Maraska quits the game to go because she's getting a bad feeling about her mom. So she goes in time for that.
That's
So
a little trickier because she turned out to be right.
yeah,
Granted, it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure it was a hard decision to go out there in the first place, but like, sometimes you just like you do it because it was like, yeah, maybe you're right, and then you start to regret it, and then you get that feeling in your gut, and she did.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like sucks that she maybe took a spot from someone else who would have been there, because clearly she needed to be with her mom instead. So yeah, it is what it is. But I still think just by who they got on the cast alone, I it deserves to be a little higher up than super low.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll take some. You were a little soft on me for that one.
Yeah, I would this I get why you might not like or like put it here.
Yeah.
Like it's not one that like upsets me.
That's no, you let me know if it upsets you.
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you that you're fucking dumb and that you have no taste in seasons. But this one is, yeah, I think it's fine.
All right.
Okay, on to the next season. We have Worlds Apart.
All right. Yeah. I think it's I think it's a fun season. It just gets, like at the very least, if you like a good challenge beast, Mike Holloway is that challenge beast. He's one of
Mhm.
the I think he's the only successful challenge beast with the record to win.
Yeah.
Um
And a lot
yeah.
of that is that this cast is kind of unlikable for the most part. There's definitely yes, people just do not really want to vote for Will. People don't even really want to vote for Carolyn. I think Carolyn's got some online fans that were rooting for her a bit, but like on the island, I think that she wasn't as liked as what the online community kind of were going for. So yeah, and then obviously you got like Dan Foley, which no one really likes.
Yeah.
Ronnie, no
I
one really
mean,
likes.
I think there were some people I really enjoyed when I was watching. Like, all right, so when this comes out, you typically when these categories come out, there's the theme seasons. You usually try and be like, "Oh, this is something I align with." I was rooting for No Collar hard, not because I was particularly fond of everyone on No Collar, but I was like, "Nah, screw this." Like go creative people and people that don't have conventional jobs. I wanted them to win. Now, granted,
uh,
uh, I would say the one that stuck out to me was like Jenna
mhm.
on that tribe. Like she was playing a good game, but then she was like, I think she knew that her ticket was punched, and then she didn't really even try. She was like, I might as well not even try because they're just gonna vote me out anyway.
No, it was the margarita curse that's what got her.
Yep,
She
that
would have won the game if she didn't get that margarita.
that is very true. Yeah.
um, yeah, like I think Mike's win. I mean, obviously he wins out, so it's like good on him. He's not like my cup of tea as a winner. Like he doesn't do a lot of things that I would like because I like people who are, in control of the votes and doing all that stuff. And he's, having to kind of be on the bottom the entire time, which can be a good underdog story, but I don't know. Like I'd say 80% of this cast I was not really a fan of.
Uh, I wouldn't say it was. There were some people I was impartial to. Um, I don't know. Even though she was kind of wacky, I really enjoyed Shirin. I liked it was also you rooted for her because she kind of got picked. Granted,
Yeah. Well,
she
she's
started off by saying yeah, I killed a rat and ate it. I was like, what?
yeah.
But he still. I don't know. There was that. I do like. There are people on this cast I really enjoy, and I feel like I vibe with the theme. So yeah. Um Also it's I just love how the I love how the tribe's name or the merge tribe's name is just called Murica.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Um
Yeah, I mean, I think Sharon's maybe the only one that I could really root for on this cast. you know, I mean, remember Mike's like infamous thing at the auction. I mean, that's what really like nearly cost him the game is him trying
Yeah.
to back out on that to keep the money. Uh yeah, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. I think I think most people would be more inclined to rank it where I am than where you did. If we polled people.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, like I'm not dying on a cross for this team, for this, but this is
No.
where after I kind of place things around, I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
this is around where I fell.
Got it. Got it. Okay, moving on to our next season, we have heroes versus healers versus hustlers. Ironically, right next to each other, I think they have very similar winners here. I do think this is better. I do think this is better.
All right. I feel like there are some things I really enjoyed about this. It was like the first one, like I really enjoy Dr. Mike. There's a Ryan, and he's the Ryan that makes it to Final Three. You know, like that's probably why this is higher. Um, but yeah, I understand why, and we'll get to him in our winner rankings, why, like, Ben winning and then also the fire making and stuff like that, why that kind of like downs the season a little bit.
Mhm.
But I feel like there was a lot of interesting things going on rewatch, and I feel like it is a often overlooked season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do think it's unfortunate that Ben honestly gets the end because it's like they clearly he wins. Like this season would have been so interesting had it been a Ryan, Chrissy, Devin final three. Um,
Yeah.
because anyone could have really won in that situation. It would have really been up to how everyone presents themselves at Final Tribal Council. Um, but this season, I think Dr. Mike is a lot of fun. Um, him and his alliance with Joe, the Coconuts,
Yeah.
really enjoy that. Alan Ball is a lot of fun as a pre-merge boot. Um,
There
so
was some. I also liked Allie. Allie was really
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Um, so there's definitely things to find here that are good. It is more likable than Worlds Apart. Like across the board, I think there's more people to find here to root for than the previous season. It is also interesting to note this season is literally one up from the last season for both of us. Like we both kind of have them in the same area, but this one just
Or
slightly above.
yeah, I don't know. It just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess we just have kind of the same thoughts about it. Yeah, just different places in our rankings where you're a little more fond of these seasons than I am.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay, on to the next season. We have Karamoan.
So here's why it's a little lower for me. It's still
Mhm.
a season I enjoy because I feel like Cochran winning and stuff, especially being a huge nerd back then, was super cool.
Mhm.
And for him playing a perfect game as well. Uh, Also iconic moments like Philip, his damn pink undie. You see in this picture, that's all. I just went there and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Uh, we get the first person ever voted off first in Survivor history, which is so horrible.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think this season I, I wanted to like it more, but it's like I feel like the favorite or the fans they got, some of them weren't even fans of Survivor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say like the early parts that I thought were like interesting was like, oh, they have the Cool Kids Alliance that ironically gets targeted because they're the quote unquote cool kids.
Uh,
Um, and then I think, how Reynolds and Eddie pick up Malcolm as like, oh, okay, we're the handsome guys. We're gonna try and do something here. And then Eddie just somehow makes his way near the end. Like, like the thing is the fans don't really stand out like they did last time with I mean, we
Uh,
even have Eric here. And
yeah,
Eric got like a big omission of like
yeah,
an edit this season, which is crazy to me.
yeah, exactly. He makes it what like he makes the final five, but gets medevaced, and so they just kind of like don't really show him.
Yeah.
um, but I mean, I do think the Malcolm idol play, the Three Migos idol play, I think that's great TV. I do enjoy that episode onwards of Caramoan like immensely. I do think it is very entertaining because you kind of get to see a lot of the favorites basically playing the game. um
Yeah.
and whereas the pre-merge was a lot more of the fans because a lot of them went to a lot of the tribal councils. So I do think, yeah, the first half is very rough, but I think it really picks up in the latter half. And to me, as I said, I really enjoy the post merge. I think that that's kind of where seasons are cemented, and I think that this season
I
at least cemented itself in the end.
yeah. And I mean, if you love Cochrane, you're gonna really enjoy this season. And yeah. We get more Philip, we get more of his nicknames. We have like a very like dramatic like mini story arc between Brenda and Dawn about like, Dawn loses her teeth and Brenda goes out to get it and then gets voted off. And there was a moment with the loved ones where it was brutal. It's like, hey, piss off everyone else or just piss off Dawn. And then Brenda had to make that hard decision.
Yeah.
And it was a good like storyline that like ended up happening. So
Mhm.
I do agree with you. And plus we got back-to-back seasons with Malcolm and he delivered as much as he could.
Uh,
But I still think what we got of Malcolm was great.
yeah. Yeah, I think he is kind of in a tough situation to ever win the game of Survivor because he looks like he is really good in challenges. He's very smart, very social, and that's like that just comes across so much that he can't really make it too far. And like he looks like he's good in challenges, but his track record is actually like not that great. Like he hasn't won
No,
that much.
he has not. But I mean, he has the charm, he has the charisma to kind of make up for it. Like it's kind of tough because we don't get to see him do too hot in game changers, and I feel like that's something that could have really helped cement it. Is that I mean, like
Mhm.
he's still like a. I still enjoy Malcolm. I still
Yeah,
like
yeah.
him. I mean,
I mean, he's in the
like
Hall of Fame for our
he is in the
channel.
Hall of Fame, yeah. So it's like, you know, I just wish like he had that fourth opportunity. Because like he did go home the second time around due to like rotten, or the third time around due to rotten luck. It was
Yeah,
like
exactly.
there quite a few things had to go wrong for him to go home.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
All
Okay,
right.
moving on next to number 31, we got Gabon.
And that's
This
not a
is
mistake.
this is
That
this
is
is this is real.
that is my actual genuine placement of this.
God, it's fucking
All right.
criminal.
Do you want to shit on it before I defend my answer?
Yeah, so this season has a cast of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing out there. They have no physical, social, or strategic skills whatsoever. They are just bumbling fools. Where somehow Sugar Kuiper is the best strategic mind that this season has. What are you talking about? Okay, it's just full of imbeciles who don't know how to play the game. um yeah, there's some random funny things that I can laugh at, but like that is not going to carry it that deep into a season ranking.
All right. So, reasons why I love this season. One, it is because it's a little crazy. They almost forfeit immunity because They almost didn't show up because one guy was missing. But no. What I enjoy about it, so I will say I have a soft spot for Sugar. I've met her a lot of times. Fun fact, she and I might have known each other in a past life, according to Sugar.
Wow, this is making me really think that you're right on this ranking. All right, Ryan. Wow, you're really selling it to me. Oh
I'm
man,
getting there.
I'm a fool for thinking that it's this low.
It's on tape. He says he's a fool. So, all right, but that aside, so like I like Sugar. I like Kenny. I feel like one, he was the gamer bro, and so like he was a gamer nerd, and so like I was really rooting for him this season. I really like Bob Crowley. He's just this he's fun, Bill Nye the Science Guy teacher, like very small town and stuff. He ends up doing well in challenges. Makes probably the best fake idol, especially for the time. It led to we also had Randy, who was pretty good TV. He's the wedding videographer that doesn't believe in love. He offered cookies and then, like, he just became a jerk about it. And then
But
he has one of the most satisfying eliminations.
Randy's
Um,
like I like Randy as a character, but it's great if he was on a season with people who actually are playing the game.
no, and then they do some like interesting stuff there. I think Ace is an interesting like pre-merge villain where he thinks he's hot shit, but then he gets eliminated. Um, yeah, so and there's some interesting sound bites that come from here as well. Um, yeah, so this is I will say a little bit of a guilty pleasure season, but I still enjoy it. Like it is like if you like crazy casts and like stuff, this is a great season.
I disagree. Bob. I mean, he gives the final drop council and he doesn't even really know. He's just like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm here. That's got to count for something, right? He almost loses to Susie, who also just kind of like didn't do anything in the entire game and still almost lost to her. It's it,
Admittedly, admittedly, yeah, Susie winning would have been kind of the edit would have been different, but it is a little out of left field that she kind of comes this big threat at the end.
yeah.
Um, we start to see it happening in like real time in the finale too. Where it was like, oh shit, Susie might pull this one out.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and like I think Kenny, like I think he's fine, but yet again, I wish they just took like Kenny and Randy and put them on a different season, and then everyone else just never entered Survivor.
oh no, I can't. No,
Yeah,
I can't say that. There are people I genuinely enjoy on this. And listen, Sugar and I went to war with each other.
in a past life.
Yes. The reason I believe she might be right is because I don't
Oh
know
my
you know this
god.
thing about birthmarks, but they say if you have a prominent birthmark, that's where you were killed in your past life. And I have like a birthmark right here that's like right in my chest where I might have been shot or something or impaled through here. And I'm thinking that's where I was taken out in a past life. So that's why I support her theory.
I feel like I'm Emily Flippin in Strider 45, and my mates are talking about aliens and the pyramids. That's what I feel like right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you can't. You're not going to win this argument against me. You're not going to dissuade me. I've been talking about years why I enjoy this season.
Yeah, and I've been talking years about why I hate this season. So
You know what? Maybe I should put it first place next time we do this list. So that way it
yeah.
just gets higher.
Okay, this will be 49 on my list, or however is second to last.
Oh god.
Next time it's just going to be us firing shots at each other.
Attacking one another. You know.
uh, okay. moving on next to number 30. We got Survivor 42.
All right. So all right, it's 35 for you, so I think you do enjoy this season. Would I be mistaken?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yet again, if they had taken out the twists of the hourglass and the do or
Yeah,
die, this probably goes to like 25 for me. So closer to what you have right now. So yeah.
that's fair. I think no, I think those things obviously were problems, but I think maybe I overlooked it because I feel like they at least toned down the advantages in this one. And you had some people where, and that allowed for certain contestants to shine a little bit more. Um, I feel also another thing, this is where a winner actually makes this season a little better. The fact that we have Marianne, where there hasn't really been too many people like her on in the show.
Mhm.
We get this like young, quirky person come in, and then she's finding idols. She's making strategic moves right when she needs to, and she ends up
Yeah.
winning the game. And she's also a big character.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what's interesting about her bringing up yet again how I was mentioning like how people like will come to like under the radar and that's how they do. She starts the season as like I'm going out there to be a big character and the primers, she's like doing the machete and doing all of these crazy things and then like the merge happens and then she adapts what I was just saying where I kind of don't like where they go under the radar. She kind of does that like her personality kind of like disappears until she takes out Omer. Like
I will
she goes undercover.
they do kind of talk about a lot more. I feel like a lot more like contestants start to shine a little bit more. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I feel like the bromance between Mike Turner and Jonathan Young really starts to take center stage in this portion. Uh, it leads to some interesting tribal councils. And then you have Omar who's doing a lot, like he may not be that he was a good player, great strategist, but things kind of came up with him. You have Drea ended up setting a record for most advantages in a single
Mhm.
season, which
Yeah.
I think is pretty badass. You have Tori, who was I chose as my winner pick, and then I was like, oh gosh. But she led to some good moments.
Mhm.
You have Zach Wardenberger, who I've had the pleasure of talking to quite a few times. So this might boost up the ranking for me a little bit, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Um, but also he becomes the first person at tribal council to go home unanimously without
Mhm.
a vote.
Yep.
Well, there's technically one person other than him, but that was also like extenuating circumstances.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so
It does have the Jackson. I guess you call it a medevac, which I don't like. Is very unfortunate that you know they didn't find this out until the game had already started because it would have been probably better had an alternate had taken that spot to at least prevent that moment from happening.
yeah, because I feel like it also damages your own reputation. Like I know
Mhm.
you want to play Survivor, and it's just tough because like when that happens and stuff, and then it's like, well, you ruin your chance of like actually playing the game because it very much hindered so much for like because of the lithium, like he got taken out of the game, first.
Yeah.
And like
And it really put that tribe at a disadvantage. Luckily, they had Jonathan to prevent a lot of those pre-merged tribal councils because
yeah,
it was very possible that this tribe could have just started going bam, 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 and now they all lose because they just lost a person for no other reason.
this is also the first season where we got uh equal tribes going
Mhm.
into the merge for a three tribe cast.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of great moments here. there is another what if because Lindsay originally was supposed to be on 41,
Mhm,
but she got COVID and couldn't make it, and then she got on this season.
mhm.
So that's kind of crazy to think about a little.
I know, right? It's for her to be able to just go on to the other one. I feel like a lot of times if that happened, they would just say, we'll bring you for the 43, 44 cycle instead. But
Even Jeff was like, she seems optimistic.
yeah.
But yeah.
Exactly.
Um, I don't know. Like I look back at the season, I like Romeo's like underdog story. Because he was pretty much left out pretty much the entire merge, but still finds his way to the end. And he's like, no, I had to fight tooth and nail to get here and stuff. So like he has a good story. Um, yeah, I think this was one of the best, especially for the earlier new era seasons. This
Mhm.
was definitely a highlight.
uh, okay. Moving on next to 29.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's see what we got. We got Survivor Africa.
All right. There's another big gap.
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you take the charge first.
Okay. I'll be honest, I just really like the Tom, Ethan, Lex trio that obviously do steamroll and kind of control this game. I think T-Bird is also a lot of fun on the season. Um, it introduces the first tribe swap as well, which is, pretty big and historic that the leap they take there. Um, and also just the setting of Africa I think is a fun one, kind of that Sahara feel is something that you don't really see on too many other seasons as well. So yeah, it's a season that when I put it on, like I don't really have any real negatives in most of the episodes. I just kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's the same for me. I do enjoy the season. I think Ethan's a good winner. I like Lex a lot. I think he was if we're talking like the all-star or the single digit era, he's definitely a standout for me.
Mhm.
Um there's some fun moments here as well. Uh I think the thing that doesn't rank it higher for me is I feel like there are some people more in the cast that I would like to shine a little bit more,
Mhm.
and that's why it is a little lower. Because when I think of this season, it is mostly those three and T Bird,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, well, there were those, and I'm forgetting the name. There was the one like grumpy dude, and he had a movie date with one of the
Yeah.
guys on the reward who happened to be gay, and so that
Yeah.
was like, I guess for the time, pretty funny. That it was
Yeah.
like, oh, you have this grumpy guy who I don't know. Uh, so there was like some like comedy there. There was a controversy with eating the cherries. But yeah, I mostly remember when I think about the season, and I mean they're very entertaining. I mostly think
Uh,
about Lex, Ethan, and Tom.
Yeah. I love the auction moment with Big Tom and Ethan where, he gets a breakfast and there's bacon on it. And he's like, he's a Jew and you won't eat the ham. He's a Jew. Hallelujah. Like he's just and he's like, oh,
It's too
I'm
damn
sorry
funny.
for him. I'm sorry for him, but oh
Big Tom is hilarious.
yeah.
I know why we haven't seen him back like since like All Stars, but like I think that is some of the beauty of like the older seasons. Sometimes we do get like they're more about they're more just out there and being characters, and it's the
Yeah.
game is like secondary.
Yeah, exactly. And just health wise, I mean, we would never see Big Tom pretty much come after like heroes versus villains. He maybe could have gone if they wanted to, but like that's probably stretching it.
Yeah,
because he was
he makes
already an
the
older guy in this season, and then All
yeah
Stars, like yeah,
he is also the Survivor contestant, at least by pure pounds, has lost the most weight,
yeah. I forgot the number, but it's like over 100 pounds or something like that.
which is impressive.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Mhm. Okay, moving on next to number 28, we have Survivor 43.
I feel this is we were kind of like close on
Yeah,
this.
I'm actually surprised you have it higher than me because I really like the season of the new era. So I was happily surprised.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Joe. It's the
Yeah.
makeup for it's the
Yeah.
makeup for Gabon.
Yeah. Got to make it up somewhere.
Yeah. So I think we do have a pretty solid cast here. They even have Orion. Uh
Mhm.
uh I swear that's not actual criteria for all of these. But you know, you have Jesse Lopez. You have the bromance between him and Cody, and then Jesse makes his turn at Cody. You have like the strong players in this final six. They turn each other. You get a lot of like cool like people in this cast. And a lot of great moments. You have the whole twist about Gabler being the guy. I was like, oh, he was very polarizing. He was like, this guy's either going out first or he's winning. Well, he didn't go out first.
Yep. And so therefore he's got to win the game.
Yeah,
uh
it is written. Uh, yeah, there was a lot of fun characters here. You had Owen Knight, who he called himself Charlie Brown, a survivor, which so much didn't go his way. It was
yeah.
is damn near comical. The fact that the entire Yellow tribe is called the Baka tribe, and none of them realize what that means in in Japanese.
Yeah. And so they're just going Baka, you know. Uh, but I mean, this is also, I mean, Jesse, Cody, and Carla are like stars of the season. I
Mhm.
do believe that if one of them had won the season, people would be ranking this as like their favorite new era season because I think there's a lot of fun gameplay that is done in the season. Just some people do not like Mike Gabler winning, but there's also a weird level where I think that makes the season really funny, like because no one was expecting it and for it to happen there is a little bit of a level just like, oh my gosh, that just happened.
Yeah, I think that's I mean it's one of the shorts on our channel. It was me watching it my first ever Bryson win and then being shocked and saying what the F like when he
Yeah.
won because it felt so random.
Yeah.
Um but yeah.
And it's there. Like I did the rewatch. It is absolutely there for Gabler to win. You just don't believe it because it's Gabler saying it's Gabler saying the things that winners say, and because he's so weird, you just write him off instantly, which is exactly what the cast of Survivor 43 did. They wrote him off instantly.
Yeah, they did. And then and then he won. I
Yeah.
will say this might be a personal reason why it might be a little higher. He's also the first Survivor contestant to straight up just give all his money away.
Um.
And as a child of two veterans, it's hard for me to like ignore, like for me, I know I was like surprised when he won, but when he said that, I'm like, okay, I like you as a winner, like a little bit more because of that.
Uh.
Um, so there is like that to it. I feel like some other people that I really enjoyed. Noelle was, someone where she has a great moment where she, like she has a prosthetic leg and then she is trying to do a challenge where it is extremely difficult for her to do because of the leg and then she ends up winning the reward and like that was a moment that it was a very strong emotional moment and I think that's another one that kind of like sticks out to me.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Um, I agree. I think that moment's great as well. I think Sammy constantly, he's only 19. Did you know that? He's only 19. He's not 22. That was his similar to Kyle and his Kyle and Camille have a secret alliance. Like that was the meme of the season was him saying that. Um I loved. I mean, Jesse is probably my favorite New Era player. The way he played was great. I mean, he didn't have to find idols. People would give him idols and he'd vote them out. Like that was
Yeah,
his gameplay.
the face on I'm forgetting her name right off the top of my head, but Mary
Janine.
Yeah, the mayor of Ponderosa.
Yeah.
Um, her face when Jesse played the idol
Yeah.
was television gold.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had good reactions. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Um, yeah, this is a good cast. I love how also the Beware advantage was a little better this time around because it was like, oh, you had to collect the beats from everyone's bags, and everyone went about it a different way.
Yeah.
And I think obviously they did best with Cody, where Cody was like he had the hat and everything, and that was so fun and entertaining
Uh
because it's
exactly.
within his character to do so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. He was just living.
Yeah, he's someone where I would like to see come back
I
as
agree.
well.
Another second chance person right there.
100%.
Okay. Moving on next to number 27, we have Palau. We got Palau.
Yeah. So this may be surprising because it is a lot lower than where I've ranked it before.
Uh
I think as I've gotten older, I appreciate the cast a little bit more. It is kind of tough to just, well, a lot of like one side just doesn't get edited as much just
yeah.
because they all get eliminated one after another.
Yeah.
And the one guy that was eliminated from the other tribe, it's when they were forced to go, and he just straight up wanted to be on just to see how easy it was to get on Survivor. Like he
Uh
didn't even want to be there at that point.
yeah.
Another thing, sometimes my brain goes into the player aspect of it, but the fact that two people were eliminated before they truly got to even play the game also
Yeah.
kind of sucked. And it is a shame too because it was their biggest cast, and then they kind of at the time biggest cast, and then they just got rid of two people, and then I was like, wait, what? What?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it sucks to be those two, but uh you know, this is the best Stephanie has ever been as a TV character because she had to be kind of
Yeah,
America's sweetheart because she survives just the train wreck that was Oolong. Um I do think Tom and Ian were definitely standouts, and I'm glad that they make it, to the end. That
oh
final
yeah,
immunity challenge is another iconic moment. Where they went what was it, like 13 hours or something like that?
12
Or
hours.
12 hours. Yeah, it was a crazy long time where literally you see the sun sets on the challenge. Uh and yeah, Tom, very dominant winner. Probably one of the more dominant winners that we've seen up to this point of Survivor.
Yeah, he's another one who another example of challenge beast who ends up winning.
Mhm.
um yeah. uh nah, and yeah, I think Stephanie really puts this on the map. The fact that she
Yeah.
survives all this craziness, all this chaos, and it's just her at the end to go over to the other tribe. And it was still kind of rough because it was like, well, we really shouldn't take out one of our own, but we should. And
Yeah.
then like her fighting for a way, and like Chenu was just like straight up like, yeah, I'll just go because like I'm kind of tired of being here.
Mhm.
Uh, it was like it gave Stephanie like being one of the most rootable people I think in Survivor, especially at that point. You get Tom, who was like, he looks like old man Steve Rogers right here. And like he ends up winning. And then another reason why you should always bet on firemen when you are when you're making your Survivor draft, always bet on firemen. They do well in these games, and he is the prime example.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's why someone like Joe you assume would win, and the end of Final Three because you're a family man, you're a fireman, you're this hero archetype. You know, but yeah, Tom just played a really phenomenal game. And the first half of the season was the Oolong destruction, and I don't think this season is great on a rewatch. That's the problem I think with the season is it
Yeah,
kind of is really good on its first go, but then if you rewatch it knowing what's going to happen, it isn't as good because you're kind of just watching it and you're just like, okay, we're just kind of going through the motions now.
I agree. All right, so this will be the last number 26 will be the last one of the episode.
Yes,
Um
exactly. So, what season will be the last one here? Let's find out. It
Bone.
is. No. We got San Juan del Sur.
Yes. You know, I feel like it was coming off of the success of Blood versus Water, where people loved that what they did with that season. And it was like, what if we did it again, but it's like all new people?
Mhm.
And they did. And I feel like they had a pretty solid cast all around. There's a lot of favorites of mine that kind of come from this, some great players, and I think it's very well rounded. So I know you have it a little lower. I was a little, I mean, like, I know this is a season where it was like underappreciated, then loved a lot, mostly
Mhm.
because like some of the returnees did so well and became
Yeah,
kind of like legends in their own right.
yeah,
But
that's the thing is that a lot of these people did better on other seasons, but like if I'm looking at just this season, um, I remember especially my first watch, it was really difficult to get through. I didn't enjoy very much of the cast. Um, I think Keith was the one person who I was kind of rooting for, but it wasn't like gameplay. It was just like he was just kind of out there, just being himself, and there's kind of like some fun there. So, I enjoy the real people like the strategists. So um it felt like I just didn't have anyone who I was really connected to that much. Natalie plays obviously a great game, but it's like it's like end game stuff is what she does to win the game, and not so much the beginning and middle. She kind of gets through a lot of that. Obviously, you got someone like John Rocker, who's not exactly super likable, who is there for the first like four episodes. Um, I don't know if you know the show Eastbound and Down, but it's actually based off of John Rocker.
no, I think
Yeah,
you may have mentioned it.
yeah. It's got Danny McBride playing a retired baseball pitcher. And just being, and he's just the worst person that you could ever imagine, and is literally based off of John Rocker. Um, And yeah, I don't know. There's just not too much that I really liked about the season. Like, as I said, there's some things maybe near the end game, and there's like people that now I can be like, Wentworth's great now, but like on this season, you don't see Wentworth being great. Jeremy was great, now, but this season it felt like he was just kind of the typical male archetype that seems like a leader who's going to get taken out once it's time to take out threats. Um,
Well, I will say it's like, so with this season we got a thing where the Orange Tribe was getting clobbered. So we didn't really see too much of Kelly in the beginning as a result. We still checked in with Kelly here and there. Like I believe the first time the blue team even lost, they were like, yeah, it was because one guy threw it, and then they were like, you know what? He threw the challenge. He's kind of too big for his britches. Screw it, we'll vote him out. And then they did so. And then I love how you had this power struggle where you had the two leaders going into the merge. Jeremy seemed to have lost, and then then it kind of was like I feel like this is where people started playing from the middle, and then the whole like leader versus leader thing just kind of went to shambles. And then you get an interesting arc with I'm forgetting about the couple right next to Reed.
oh, there's John and Jacqueline.
John and Jacqueline, yes. Dang, I just watched a video and talked about. Whoops. You had them, and you had like more like it was almost like people that were still like in pairs, and then it was like how do we deal with people that aren't in pairs, and like it was a good dynamic. You did have like John and Jacqueline kind of like running things a little bit, but like Natalie was a little under the radar. I think Natalie plays a great kind of like game as well. There are some great moments like Natalie is even like, hey, I'm not going to drop until I get food. So bring me food and then I'll drop,
Yeah.
which is funny. One of my favorite moments. Anytime I'm like scarfing down food and stuff after I've been starving for a while, I think
Mhm.
about this moment because
Yeah.
I'm just going down to the plate of food just like Natalie Anderson is.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there's that one challenge where Jeff basically calls it because he just realizes that they're just like gonna let I think Natalie win the challenge. So they're
Yeah,
just like, okay, we if that's what's happening here, let's just call it. And I
touchy
mean,
subjects.
yeah, touchy subjects. And I've been in orgs where it feels like that's the case, and it's just super not fun to be a part of and watch. Stuff like that always kind of now like just ticks me off a little bit. Where I'm just kind of like, that's people are kind of not, they're playing herd mentality.
Well, that's why Jeff never brought it back after that. That's why Survivor
Yeah,
was like, you know what? You guys don't want to play it right. You're not going to play it at all.
yeah, exactly. This season in Worlds Bar, like 29-30, like they both did something that I think ruined great things with touchy subjects and the auction. Luckily, auction has made a comeback. Maybe touchy subjects will too. Um,
I mean, it's the open era. You never
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Everything that has happened in Survivor can come back. It is in
It's
play.
on the table now, which also means that that might bring some bad things that we
Which
all
is like,
collectively hate.
you've always had the power to do whatever you want with your season. These are all
Yeah,
self-imposed things that you have put upon yourself. You can make two tribes. You can do four tribes if you want to. Hell,
yeah,
you can go back to 39 days. This is mostly something that you can do. Like we're not
yeah,
like no one is saying that you couldn't have done these things in the new era.
yeah, exactly. I'm not looking forward to it, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, with this season, like I said, I think you can look back now and be like, "Whoa, this cast is actually secretly stacked." But at the time, it was not like just looking purely at this season. I do think it underperforms, and especially looking at it as against Blood versus Water one, which is a really good season. Obviously, it's got
Yeah.
returning players, but like that season was phenomenal in a lot of ways. And this season, just it just doesn't hit that same level.
I think this is still a good season. Like this is for something where I'm like, this is like good. I mean, like if I wasn't a big Natalie fan, maybe it would be a little lower on my list.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, like also you have Keith as well, which Keith is just great. Like I feel like, yeah, I think sometimes when you like when players come back, you do like their old season a little better. And that might be why it is this way for me. But I do remember the gameplay being dynamic as well in the merge portion and like, oh, this person's taking it. It's like the tallest blade of grass would be cut. And I
Mhm.
like that kind of like aspect here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's similar to 43. I do think it creates a little like you're taking out the threats to a level where sometimes it's just kind of like okay, well, like I'm not a huge fan of Missy and Baylor, and obviously they're super deep into the season as well. I didn't really care for John or Jacqueline. So a lot of the end gamers besides like Natalie, and even Natalie, like watching it, she's like, I guess I'm rooting for her because I don't like anyone else that she's now at in like the end game stretch. Um, so yeah.
Well, I guess that wraps up our first half of our 50 seasons ranking.
Yep.
I had a lot of fun arguing with you, and then also broing out with you, and just talking about Survivor.
Exactly. Yeah, this was a long one, almost 3 hours.
Yep. Yeah, we're not recording back to back. I gotta
Yeah,
shower and get ready to
I
go.
agree. Yeah, we gotta call it there. My voice would be dead if we did another one, I think.
All right. Well, that's it for this video. Let us know your ranking. Who has the hottest takes here? Is it me putting Gabon super high, or is this that might be the hottest take here? I'm
I,
not
I
gonna lie.
I think it's pretty hard to argue with that. Like
I mean,
I can get I could have got if you put it at like 32, 33. You put it what 19 or something?
19.
19. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, I gave my reasons.
Yeah, I know you did. I'm still gonna say it's crazy.
You know what? When a Survivor contestant talks to you about your pet, well, actually, I like the season even before she and I shared that story, but I digress. Anyway, I need to get ready for set. That's
Yeah.
it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and we will see you in the next one.
Have a good one. Adios.
Peace.